one of the most catalyzing, reality transforming, perspective shifting moments of my life came through a dream that I had very, very early on in my awakening. I wouldn't at the time have identified as spiritual or interested in spirituality, although I'd not long started meditation. I was in the midst of essentially a psychosis / spiritual emergency that I didn't understand, where my consciousness was expanding, but it was surfacing a lot of really troubling material. And the idea of non-duality or interconnection wasn't something I'd explored. I was still very much ingrained in the materialistic worldview, the conventional worldview. I was at university, out partying, just a normal working class lad from Bristol in the UK. And then came the dream. I've written an in-depth exploration of this dream about a leaf, and if you can see in the background, there are leaves on my wall. I've got a leaf tattoo, which you can just about make out there, because of its significance. In a nutshell, in this dream, I was walking from my girlfriend at the time's house back home in Sheffield, and initially I wasn't aware I was dreaming. It seemed very much ordinary. I walked, turned the corner, and as I turned the corner, something just stopped me in my tracks. There seemed to be something that felt vividly alive in a way that transported me out of my automated response. And I looked up at the sky, and it felt as if the sky was superimposed, that it was saturated with life, with intelligence. And I'll never forget that moment in the dream of, whoa, this is not normal. This isn't what I usually see when I walk around this corner. And because of that, it was enough to allow me to awaken in the dream, to become lucid. Even though dreams can take you anywhere, there aren't really any limitations. This dream was quite ordinary. Once I was lucid, I was able to sustain myself in the dream in a way that I don't often achieve. I have moments of lucidity. I've had a few really intense lucid dreams where I've been able to change the color or the environment that I'm in. But frequently I wake up, and in this one there was an ease to the awakening within the dream. And rather than doing anything elaborate, trying to fly or anything like that, I just started to observe my environment. And this was the spark that from then on transformed my relationship to both dreams and the waking world. I was familiar with the environment that I was in. And as I walk around this corner, there are rows and rows of houses. It's at the top of a hill. There's a beautiful view of Sheffield over the top. And there's a tree or a hedge that is in a garden on the left that I walk past every time, multiple times a week, without paying much attention. And in the dream, I walk over to it and I just start to observe the leaf. And in observing the leaf, I pull it off the tree and I look at it closely, and I can see the most intricate detail, every single vein of this leaf that had a similar energy and liveness and saturation of intelligence that I saw in the sky. And in that process, I remember feeling within the dream wonder and awe and love and compassion and exaltation at what was being experienced. There was a process where I became aware that in this dream, I was an individual. I was perceiving the dream like we do in real life or in waking life from this individual perspective. And yet there was so much life and so much intricacy. It seemed almost like if I could dream up in that lucidity, a microscope, I'd be able to zoom all the way in and there would be detail, microscopic detail in the dream. this challenged my understanding, because previously I've always thought of dreams as a repository of memory, of things that have happened, that your brain is just randomly throwing up material that is processed either throughout the day or from the past, or just the imagination's running wild. But this was different. And I knew that in that space, whatever had orchestrated the fullness of the environment, so not just my individual perspective, what in the Jungian theory you might call the dream ego, the entire environment that I had created was unlimited in terms of how much detail there was. And that was the thing that evoked this heart-opening jubilation of sorts, to realize that this is not just a repository. There's an intelligence here. This is an actual dimension of being. And that awakened me in a way that I cannot describe. I've been really fortunate since the moment in that dream to have had similar experiences in waking life, to observe the detail and intricacy and be blown away by it, to perceive the intelligence and saturation of life in those moments that are seemingly mundane and yet packed full of the profound. Lucid dreams are an exceptional metaphor for awakening. We understand in waking life, if we are to listen to spiritual teachers that say that there is only one consciousness. We are all fragments of that consciousness. And when we awaken, we realize that even though we are a fragment, we are also the whole. We are also the orchestrator of our environment as well as our individual perspective. So there's a mirroring of that awakening into lucidity in a dream and awakening in the waking life, where you start to realize that intelligence and life isn't just contained to this perspective, this subjective individual experience. Intelligence and life, the same intelligence and life that I experience, is in all of my environment. It is all an extension of me. There are certain teachers who will use dreams as a prompt to awaken. I would say that it can be exceptionally useful to view reality in a more fluid way. And I do ultimately understand, in a dance of consciousness, that this is a dreamlike experience. And yet the caveat that I would give is that if you're someone prone to dissociation, prone to getting lost in the inner world and not so connected to the physical, even though we can understand the physical isn't as dense as we make it out to be, that perhaps that is a practice that can reinforce dissociation if not done carefully. So it is a delicate balance, and I just wanted to make this video just as a highlight between the parallel of lucid dreaming and awakening in waking reality. I do fully believe that dreams are dimensions, that we enter an imaginal space, or like a liminal space between the unconscious, the source of myth, the source of creation, and the deliberately limited and refined and finite sense of perception that we have in order to function in what we call physical. Yeah, so hopefully this is useful. If you're encouraged, I do recommend the article, because I go into a lot more detail. But I'd also be keen to hear your view. If you've had not only dreams that have contributed to your awakening and actually transformed your relationship to waking life, but if you've had a lucid dream that actually mimicked aspects of your awakening, I do wonder if, as part of a spiritual awakening, we can awaken in the dream world just as we awaken in, waking life as well. And I've also had, dreams of meditation, dreams of expanding upon insights that I've had, dreams that are mythologically of a religious strand, and they're all so illuminating, and really do stand out as non-ordinary and as defining on the path as well. So I'm keen to hear your thoughts and feedback if this is something that you've experienced, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you.